Alright, for this video I wanted to revisit Grid Legends VR and look at the game objectively, as it's one of the most polarizing Quest titles to date. I would say that this title is still the closest attempt to try and bring a real racing title to a mobile platform that is Quest, where platforms like PC VR and PSVR have seen success bringing titles like Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa, F1 with VR and sim racing wheel support. Quest is yet to get a solidified hit within the space, in part because the device is well underpowered. And I've tried a bunch of racing games on Quest, whether that's Deathlap, Driven V Speedway, Mini Motor Racing X, Dash Dash World, etc. Those titles are fun and some manage to nail VR motion controls. None of them hit the nail on the head. I came up with Xbox and I've been wanting something to resemble Forza but on Quest. With the current chipset that is the XR2 Gen 2 used on Quest 3, we may be 1 or 2 generations away from getting something similar to Forza natively, as VR titles themselves are massively demanding compared to flat screen games, as you have to render for both eyes at a high enough resolution so that the game doesn't look like a blurry mess. Unfortunately, Grid Legends is the closest thing we have to a true racing title on Quest. I say unfortunately, not because the game is bad, as I quite like it myself. It's nice to kick back and race while listening to music, but it's a wasted opportunity to create something great and unique to drive people to the platform. Now the game just sits under 800 reviews and gave publishers like Electronic Arts a reason to miss out until VR is mature enough. For years, the VR community has been yearning for AAA titles like Grid Legends, and Grid Legends is an attempt to bring that, but failed massively. Till this day, the reviews regarding the game are all over the place. Whether people have issue with the game's graphics, optimization, the use of application space warp, synthesized frames, lack of motion controls, game crashes, dropped online support not long after release, since half or more of the game's content is meant to be played and experienced online with other people, or the hefty game size coming in at 28.85 gigabytes. For people who had or still have the 64 gigabyte Quest 2 or having slow internet, just downloading the game itself was a large barrier in itself, including games on Quest, and especially for Quest 2 that surpassed the usual few gigabytes. The system isn't used to installing large file sizes, as we have seen problems with launches like Asgard's Wrath 2 and Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. It's been about a year and 3 months since the game initially launched on Quest 2. Now the game, presumably in my eyes, is abandoned for what was a relatively short lifetime comparing it to other titles. It was given 3 to 4 months in support, then the plug was pulled. I purchased the game at launch, and as bad reviews started pouring in, I'm one of those people that bought it just to see if it was really that bad. And it's a yes and no. It was bad but playable, as the game ran at half the resolution of the Quest 2's panel. Everything was insanely blurry. It was a task alone to make up what you were looking at ahead, as it was a blurry mess. Then with the gameplay on the background, it was afforded a second chance, as with scraping to patch it in one way or another, they implemented a resolution slider and an FPS toggle to allow people to either achieve a higher frame rate or resolution, or get the best of both worlds. If you have Quest Games Optimizer, you could also push the game's resolution even higher to near 4K at 72 Hz. Increasing resolution is dope, and it makes the game a whole lot more playable, but so much more can be made with the upgrade on the graphics, whether it's focused on the environments, shaders, baked-in lighting, car design, car interior design, and reflections. With the launch of Quest 3, it made Grid Legends more viable, as it had the extra headroom to work with, and being the only racing game natively with a full-on story, career mode, skill tree, and race creator, there is a significant amount of content to keep you playing. With the amount of vehicles like trucks, drift cars, supercars, rally cars, and including electric vehicles, it has plenty of content for you to unlock and work up to. Every car has a distinct feel and handling to them, as well as having different types of tracks located around the world, from Chicago, London, Dubai, San Fran, Barcelona, as well as having different types of day and night cycles and weather effects. All the game's content can be played offline with AI, but at launch there is a large emphasis on online and private lobbies. Playing with randoms in a public lobby or with friends was really fun, though one day EA cut support due to server issues, then brought it back online, to just not long after killing online functionality completely, because you still have the option to create sessions and toggle public or private lobbies. If you do so and you don't make it offline, the game will always crash 100% of the time. There is no workaround unless you play offline. That alone shows the half-baked effort that went into support of the game post-launch. And in all of the reviews, the developer hasn't responded to fix or remove the option for online lobbies. While still continuing to sell the game as is, they peeped the paycheck and dip. And another thing I wanted to mention is that in order for VR games to survive, they have to follow a type of live service model in order to keep on being relevant after launch. Like what you see with Beat Saber, Walkabout Mini Golf, Synth Riders, Onward, Contractors, Population 1, whether that's continued patches, free or paid DLC, it helps maintain a solid online core community, especially for multiplayer games. For example, another Electronic Arts game, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, a single player driven game with multiplayer on the side, post-launch tend to stagnate as there isn't any extra content to return to after completing it. Where lobbies at first were packed, now the game is basically dead. And if they do get updates, it tends to be years or months to address certain or small issues after the fact. The larger the company, the slower they are. Compared to other games made by indie VR devs and startups that are a fraction of the size of those companies, they deliver more content on a faster timeline. It's sad to see that EA just completely threw away all the effort of building a true racing game for Quest. Getting the game to run on Quest 2 was a feat in itself. At times, Grid Legends is fun. I do come back from time to time as it's the only game in its genre that runs natively on Quest without a PC or console. Also, I did try using a gamepad like an Xbox Series X controller and my Logitech G920 sim racing wheel, and it doesn't support those external inputs, though with an update they could fix, as recently Meta started to roll out updates with better compatibility with Xbox controllers, the Xbox Game Pass app launching, and also games like Tetris Effect Connected and Thumper, which are great games natively on Quest, do support other controllers like my Xbox controller. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As I've been in a mood for a racing game, there is yet still to be a hit within the space, and hopefully we get one, as this upcoming game, Downtown Club, is launching in early access this year in June 2024, and I will check that game out and put it on this channel as it looks kind of promising. But nonetheless, if you liked the video, drop a like, subscribe for more VR content, and until the next video, see ya.